one of many states that is. GOP pollster, former Romney senior advisor, Ed Goeas on that. Ed, what is happening here? We oftentimes see polls tightening in the final couple of weeks of a race. Is this any different than what we see every 4 years? What do you think?
Well, it's different in that from a polling standpoint, both candidates are flawed in terms of the numbers we're looking at. What's not moving in the numbers is the unfavorable feelings about both these candidates. Hillary in the Fox poll was at 53%, Trump was at 56%, and they've moved more intense. 49% strongly unfavorable on Trump, 45% strongly unfavorable on Hillary. So you'll see periods of time like we saw 2 weeks ago where you'll see maybe they'll jump up. The numbers will jump a bit. But if you really look at it over the last 4 months, since the beginning of June, quite frankly, on a four-way ballot, they've both been operating within about a 6-point margin. Hillary's window that she's at is about 5 points higher. If you look at the average of all the polls today, she's running about 5.8% ahead of Trump. So when you had something like 2 weeks ago, she moves to the top of her window, he moves to the bottom, but it comes back to a natural center. And I think this race is going to end up being somewhere in the 5 to 6 point range towards the end of the campaign.
For whom?
For Hillary Clinton.
Okay.
But then you have to look at the individual states. And in the individual states, you have a lot of states that are very, very close. So Ohio, Florida, North Carolina, Pennsylvania was just moved into a toss-up.
So you don't see a phenomenon like 1980 where there's a breakout moment, where there's something going on beneath the surface, and maybe the catalyst could be, you know, this Obamacare stuff and the high premiums, whatever it is, but that something crumbles beneath the surface that we don't sense until after the fact.
We thought we were seeing that after the Access Hollywood tape came out, and that week after that
Right.
debate that occurred then. But it's come back to its kind of natural center. Okay. And I think because of the high negatives for both these candidates, it's almost like a governor on a car. It kind of pulls them back within that range, and I think that's what we're operating. I think what people forget about polling is polling assumes everything else is even in the campaign, and at the end we have to look at those numbers and say, all right, who spent more money at the end, who has a better ground game, and I think that's where you may see a deviation.
Okay, and she has the money for that more than he does. All right, Ed, thank you very, very much. Good seeing you again.